Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone, and welcome, 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 welcome. Hi, Nikita. Hi, guys. As you join, welcome to today's live. By the way, it's been a while since we have had a live on Instagram, and so today we're going to have a guest with us who's going to be sharing her journey to Canada and what that looked like and what she's been able to accomplish, and what advice she'll have for you guys. So we'll be talking about that today. As I mentioned, it's been a while since we've had a live, and we've had a number of new followers since. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Kay Wilson. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, and I am the founder and lead consultant for Northern Connections Canada. We are based in Regina, Saskatchewan, so I'm joining you live from Regina. It's overcast outside, so this past spring going into summer, it's been very rainy here. I think since I've lived in Regina, this has been the first time I've seen so much rain. Like, we literally never get rain here, so almost every day it has been raining. So it's been an interesting weather-wise what's been happening here. It's and then when it rains, and then we get, it comes with some wind, and then it feels like we're still in the winter. So it's been very interesting, but we do get some breaks here and there with some sunshine and so on. When it gets sunny here, it gets very hot. So I believe Saskatchewan has a temperature. The weather here is, it's I would say extreme temperatures. So extreme cold and also extreme heat when it gets really hot, so in the summer months. But yeah, as I said, I'm Kay Wilson. I'm joining you from Regina, and I want you guys to share with me as well where you joining me from today, while we wait for our guests to pop in. All right, I see some folks joining from Jamaica. Welcome. And is this the first time that you're joining us for a live? Let me know in the chat as well. I see Barbados representing. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Dominica. Aquarius. Send us a DM, Aquarius, or send an email to our team, info@nccanadaimmigration.com. and we'll see if we can assist you. Some folks from Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, awesome. First time joining. All right, awesome. So, and I'll tell you a little bit about what we do. So, though we're based in Saskatchewan, so yes, we do a lot of applications for the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, which is the immigration program for this province. But outside of that, we also do a lot of applications for different provinces across Canada. So we serve clients both inside Canada as well as outside Canada. So if you're, for a lot of you who are joining me from outside Canada, we do work with folks from different countries. So we have served clients in over 30 countries. And we also work with clients across Canada. So regardless of the province that you're living in Canada, we can also work with you. We do work permit applications, and actually that's one of the topics that we're going to talk about today. So we do work permit applications, we do study permits applications for the different permanent residency programs. So whether that be express entry or provincial nominee programs, we do those as well. We handle visa refusals. So if you've applied for a visa, whether it be a study permit, work permit, a visitor's visa, so if you've applied for any of those and you are refused, we can also assist with that. So we have a service that's called a visa refusal management service, where we help with overcoming visa refusals. All right. Those are the bulk of what we do, but we practice in virtually all areas of Canadian immigration. So if you're applying for citizenship as well, or whatever the case may be, reach out to our team and we should be able to assist you we do have an online pre-assessment form that you can start with. So you complete that form online, and then we can provide you with an assessment. It's going to be a very basic assessment though. I would say a very general assessment as to whether you might be a good candidate for, immigration to Canada. Outside of that, if you are looking for a more detailed assessment, personalized, that is more customized to the specifics of what's going on, and also have the opportunity to ask questions and so on, we do what's called a consultation. So that's generally how we work with clients. There's been a lot. Okay, let me just see. I think my guest is joining. There's been a lot that's been happening immigration-wise, as many of you may know. I think one thing that's very notable is that based on recent reports, statistics released about Canada's temporary residence population, we have over 2.8 million temporary residents currently in Canada. And when I say temporary residents, I'm talking about, people who might be here studying, or so on a study permit, work permit, visitor's visa. So people who are here temporarily. And they're not permanent residents of Canada, essentially. So we have over 2.8 million. But if you look at the immigration levels plan that was released for Canada, the government plans to admit about 485,000 permanent residents for 2024, and that number will increase to 500,000 in 2025, and it will remain the same at 500,000 in 2026. So obviously there are more residents or temporary residents who may desire to convert their status to permanent residents, right? There are more of those than what we have in terms of spots available based on the immigration targets. And so it becomes very, very important to ensure that, especially if you have a temporary status in Canada, to ensure that you understand what your clear pathway to permanent residency is, and that you are proactively working towards that. Ensure that you have the right information that you'll need in order to make an informed decision, and to not waste the time that you may have with your temporary status. And then for those who are outside Canada, it's a very competitive immigration landscape. It's very competitive, and there are more people who are looking to come to Canada than spots available. And so for you also want to make sure that you are competitive. All right, you want to make sure that you can claim as many points. So if you're in the program pools, for example, make sure that you can claim as many points as is possible. There are different ways that you can increase your attractiveness and increase your point standing. So you want to make sure that you know how to do that, and again, get the right information, because it is becoming a very competitive landscape. But yeah, you have to ensure that you have a plan. Just sitting back and hoping for the best again will just not work with all that's been happening. And you would have seen too a lot of changes, a lot of policy changes that have been made, especially over the last year, where it comes to migration, and so you have to make sure that you're essentially ahead of the curve if you want to be successful. And then that also, if you are among those that are chosen, invited to make an application, that application is as solid as it can be, because if that application is ever refused, then you're back at square one. You're right back at where you started, and there's no guarantee that you will get invited again, or that you'll have that opportunity again. I'll probably take a couple questions. I see my guest is trying to join, so while we work that out, I'll take a couple questions. All right, somebody's asking. All right, I see a couple questions popping in. What are the criteria for work permits? It's not. There's no one criteria. Well, for one, to get a work permit, for the most part, you need to have a job. So I'd say that would be the number one thing. That would be on the list of, you know, the different requirements. I would say having a job offer would be number one if you're looking to get a work permit. But also remember that coming to Canada to work is not the only way to come to Canada. It's just one of many options, right? I think for a lot of people, when they think about coming to Canada, they think about working, or I need a job to come to get here, but that's not always the case. In fact, going down the pathway of a job can be difficult. So that finding that job can be difficult. I think it's probably going to be one of the most difficult things to do if you're looking to come to Canada, finding that job, right? So definitely finding the job is going to be the number one thing, and it's going to also be the most difficult thing. And it's going to require a lot of strategy, a lot of networking, and ensuring that you are positioned properly. And it also depends on, honestly, it also depends on the field that you're working in, and whether that field, whether does Canada need people in that profession or occupation that you're working in. So that will play a huge part as well in your success, you know, or failure in finding employment. How to start on the caregiver program. So the caregiver program, so there are two pilots for caregivers currently. There are two pilots for caregivers, and those two pilots are actually closed. So they have been running for a while, and they were closed earlier this month. So no new applications will be accepted for those two pilots. They're at the quota has been reached. The pilots have closed. There are two additional pilots though that will be released to replace those two pilots. We don't have all the details just yet, so more information will be released about the particular pilots closer to what we're looking towards later this year to early next year. So it's really depending on IRCC, but there will be two new pilots. What we're seeing though, based on preliminary information that has been released with the two pilots, so one, unlike with the current program, those who are admitted, so caregivers who get accepted under these two pilots will get permanent residence upon landing in Canada. So it's no longer coming on a work permit and then waiting to get permanent residence. So permanent residence will be granted upon arrival in Canada, which is, I think, huge. They also require a certain level of language proficiency. So an English language test will be required in order to demonstrate that proficiency. I believe what they have released is Canadian language benchmark of 4, so that's CLB 4. The other thing that will be required is prior work experience. No, they have not provided any details about the work experience aspect, like how much will be required. Most likely it's going to be somewhere between 6 months to a year. And then also there's an education requirement, minimum high school education. And then, of course, it also requires a job offer. So more details about all of this, though, will be required once the new pilots have been launched. So they're not launched yet. The old one is closed. And then so we're just waiting for the replacement pilots to be released. And they will release more details, of course, about how they will be administered, how to apply, and so on. So stay tuned. If you're following us, great. Turn on post notifications so that you can be notified whenever that happens.
So our guest is going to join us. Her name is Trisha, and she's here in Canada working. And if you want to see more lives like these, let us know. I'll definitely do a couple where we do some Q&As. And I know a lot of you have a lot of questions. And so we might do a couple where we gather some of your questions. And then we'll share the answers. Those burning immigration questions that you guys. Looks like it's working. Yeah. So or the guest of the hour
has arrived.
The special guest. She's very special. So she's here with us now. Welcome, Trisha.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?
I'm well. Your audience is a little low, so maybe your mic. It's all the way. It is all the way. All right. So, as I mentioned, so Trisha is here in Canada. And she's here. She is doing well as far as I know. But and let her tell you guys. She'll be the better one to tell you about, her experience coming to Canada. So Trisha, can you tell them where in Canada you are and what you're currently doing, and we'll take it from there.
So I'm currently working in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I work as a cook at the Prince George Hotel that is located in downtown Halifax. So that's where I'm currently at the moment.
All right. All right. And how are you liking it so far? How long have you been here, by the way?
So I've been here for 9 months. And liking it, yes. I have the experience here is different from where I'm coming from. The atmosphere, the environment, the people, all different. So it's all new. So I'm just soaking it in. The experience, it's been pretty good so far. Canadians are welcoming. They're kind, they're nice, they're polite. So yeah, it's been good.
And when did you come? Did you come to Canada?
I came to Canada in September of 2023.
So still fresh off the boat a little bit.
Still new.
Okay. Did you take any family with you when you came, or was it?
Sure, yeah. I took my partner with me when I was coming, so yes, I do have my partner here with me.
So my next question for you, Trisha, is what made you decide that you wanted to move to Canada? What was that push factor for you? Or what was the pull factor? Why did you want to come?
For a better career opportunity, to explore new things. The exposure, I must say, exposure. Yeah.
And so has it paid off for you though in terms of
yes,
that motivation to come?
Yes, I would say it has. It has paid off. Because currently I am almost settled, not 100% within the short period of time that I got here. And the most successful thing about it is that my kids get to come here shortly, like within a few weeks. So yeah, it has paid off.
Um, when you made that decision to come to Canada, what was one of the first thing that you did, or what did you do when you decided that, okay, I want to make this move to Canada? Like, where did you start? What did you do?
So I start making or looking for living arrangements. I started researching about the area of which I was going.
Yeah. Even before you knew where you were going, how would you have gotten on the journey, especially for those who are um maybe just starting out and they don't know where they should be starting from, or what's the first step that they should take? What was it for you?
Okay, so I would say you need to find yourself someone who can guide you through the whole process of coming to Canada, advise you on things to do, documents that you need, uh, how to go about looking jobs. Yeah.
What do you know what program you came to Canada under? You know what program you used? Sorry. So Trisha came to Canada under what's now at the time, yeah. So at the time it was a pilot, so a permanent program. So at the time when Trisha's application was done, it would have been called the Atlantic Immigration Pilot. Um, Now it's been made a permanent program, so it's now the Atlantic Immigration Program. So that would have been the program or the vehicle that was used for Trisha to come here. Um, with a program like that, it's multifaceted in the sense that it starts with an initial work permit application. Well, initially, before we even get to work permit, so you have to first have a job offer, right? So Trisha had a job offer. She's one of the clients that worked with us. She had a job offer, and with the job offer comes, because of that program, so the job offer has to be endorsed through that immigration program. After endorsement, so endorsement is essentially a letter that you get, a letter of approval through the uh, with that letter, we can use that to apply for a work permit, and within a certain period of time as well, an application for permanent residence also has to be made. Uh, so that would have been the path that was taken. How long did the process was the process for you, Trisha? Like, I guess to come to Canada, like how long did it take?
From start to finish, I would say approximately 1.5 year. And it has been a while since we had started working towards getting here. So the process had took some time. So I'd say a year and a half.
A year and a half. So from you started until you physically arrived in Canada.
Yes.
And any obstacles did you experience any obstacles in that journey? Like that whole process?
In the process, I
How
would
was it
say
for you? Like, even just going through it, waiting that long. How was that?
for waiting, the whole process, uh, it took some time that it had me wondering if I was making the right decision. at first due to the fact that it took so long. I didn't know the process would be that long. I didn't.
We lost Trisha there for a second.
Come back, all right?
So
I was saying the process, it took some time. It had me wondering at one point if I had made the right decision. But on the other hand, I had Miss Wilson who had advised me every step of the way, keeping me up to date with what's happening. If there's any update, you were on point. You kept my hopes, knowing that the process is being happening, but it just that is going to take some time.
and then yeah, so we worked with you, throughout the whole job process. So like I remember even with the getting the job, uh as but even with getting the job, I recall that Trisha had to do, different go through different assessments and a whole interview process. So Trisha, can you tell them about like the whole process of even before you were even offered the job? Like what are some of the things that you
So I had to do an English test that if you didn't pass, you'd have to eventually do over that test. I had to send various documents like previous jobs, um, previous jobs that I've been to. What else? Yeah,
think you did multiple interviews, if I recall correctly? Like,
yes,
did
I
remember?
did. I did multiple interviews, but it was with the same employer.
Yeah. And then I think you also had to do like a video assessment.
Yes, I had to showcase my skills to my previous employer. So yeah, I had to do that.
So guys, it's as I mentioned before, I was saying before that it is a competitive landscape, and finding that job is going to be um probably the most difficult step if you are going that pathway of trying to find, employment. Um, Somebody's asking what field you're in, Trisha.
So I'm in the culinary field.
Hey, she's like a master chef. Just tell them, like you're like,
I'm there.
all right. So, and how did you hear about us to even start working with us?
So I heard about you through a friend, right? I was on the hunt for jobs, and I have a friend that travels a lot, and he had recommend you to me, and I took that opportunity by reaching out, and it was, I must say, a good one because it's paid off.
And so what's your status here in Canada?
So currently I am a permanent resident Canada. So yes, the process from I got here in Canada, the process went real fast. As smooth at some point. I'm not gonna say it was smooth at all point, but it was, most of it was very smooth. I was kept very much up to date by Miss Wilson. even if it's like 10 in the night and she has something that, Trisha, you need to send me some documents for tomorrow, he'll reach out and let you know that, hey, listen, we need to get ahead. So this is what you need to do. So yeah.
And you mentioned that you're here with your partner. So what about the rest of the family?
So the rest of the family, I also had applied for them. Currently, they are in the process of coming to Canada in order to get their permanent residence. So yeah, my partner is also here with me, and he could say how the process has been for him also. In
How
short,
long did it take him to find a job, Trisha? Because you came with a job.
yes,
How long did it take him?
I came with a job and it took him probably 2 weeks to get a job. So for persons who are coming here, even if you don't come on a work permit, just come with a whole open mindset. If you have skills, that's all you need, I must say. So yeah.
And what field is he in?
Currently he is in the hotel industry.
Okay, so like hospitality, right? Um, so now that you have been here for, for some time now, uh, almost a year, has it been any different than you expected it to be? Was it better? Is it worse? What has been your experience?
For that, I would say I- it's not what I had expected because of where I'm coming from. Like, for example, housing here in Halifax, it is very tedious. It's hard to get. You have to be at the right location to, I would say, I wouldn't say survive, but you have to be in the right locations. Um, for me, one of the things here, for those who do not like the cold weather, I would say this is not your place, but it is something that you would have to adapt to. Yeah.
Any examples of how it's different from what you're used to?
So I'm from Jamaica, and the change in weather due to the fact that I came in September, after September, it's all cold here for most part. So it was like coming out of the kitchen and going into a freezer. So yeah, it was a bit off for me, not what I'm used to at this age. So yeah,
Well, you made it through the winter, so I'm
I
sure,
have.
you know.
Now it's almost summer.
So you have adjusted. Does it get extremely like what temperatures does it get to
In Halifax,
Lucia?
like -3, -4. So it gets pretty cold here.
So you thought that your -3 and 4 was cold.
Well,
I should take you to Saskatchewan.
for a person that is not used to it, it is. It is.
Yeah. Yeah, Saskatchewan we get, -30, consistent -30s for a lot of the winter is the norm here. Or some, or the teens upwards or the teens downwards, maybe I should say. uh, where temperatures are concerned. I know it's a different type of cold where you are too, because you're also surrounded by water. So it will feel a lot colder. All right. And Tricia, do you have any advice for, those who have joined us today, and those who will watch the replay? If you're watching the replay, do also drop your questions, as well. But what advice do you have for, you know, those who may want to come to Canada, may want to do what you have done, want to get to the stage that you're at, like getting through with a job and, getting a work permit, getting permanent residence? Like, what advice do you have?
I would advise you to follow your dreams. Ensure that you have a good mindset as to what you want. Ensure you have your support system. Ensure that you have patience, because you'll need a lot of patience, I must say. For persons who are willing to apply for their PR, the process is still going to take some more time, different from getting here. Miss Wilson has a very good system, support system, team members that will assist you along the way. So, yeah, those are some of the advice that I'll give to our listeners tonight. It's still night, yeah. Those are some of the advice that I'll give.
Somebody's asking, so we take some questions. I don't want to ask her anything that she might not be comfortable with disclosing, but somebody's asking, how are the expenses in Canada versus the expenses you had in Jamaica?
So here in Halifax, I must say, it is very expensive compared to where I'm from. So one advice for those who are heavy spenders, get a budget and work with it.
All right, let me see if there are any other questions. There were some. Any more questions for Tricia? Great advice. I guess my question for you, Tricia, is, would you do anything differently?
Yes, I would have. I would have prepared more for the move to Canada. I would have saved a little bit more also for the move, but nothing too drastic that I would have put into place that I didn't at first. So, yeah, nothing too extra. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So some of the questions are kind of disappearing. We might miss some of your questions, but you can them in the section again, and we'll see if we can tackle that. We might not be able to tackle all. Yes, somebody says it's got to be disciplined. That's right. Hold your world. So, and even living in different provinces in Canada feels differently. Like it feels like you're in a different country. So you have, a different experience too, based on where it is that you're going in Canada, and of course, what you'll be doing there as well. How long should you prepare for? I think that's relative. That will be, um, that will be, dependent on what you plan to do and the program and so on. So it will be relative. I would say from maybe like a funds perspective, because a lot of the programs right now they have like a proof of fund requirement. So of course, to meet some of those requirements, you need to be planning way in advance and saving in advance, of course. So different types of preparation, I would say. Um, yeah, sorry, it's hard to see some of the questions here. Was that's pathway for an electrician? I'm only taking questions that are directed towards Trisha. I might not be able to say that it's not like there's a specific pathway for a specific profession, so to speak. So you might have, yeah, just saying, just it's hard to say that there's a specific there will be some pathways or programs that are targeting certain occupations, but it's not as simple as saying, okay, I'm an electrician, what's the best pathway? Because there are different factors that will determine what will be the best pathway. Look, I see someone's asking if somebody can reach out. Can you send us a DM? Send us a DM. We may miss you once the live has ended. So send us a DM and we can get back to you, or send an email. That might be the fastest way actually to get a response from our team. So send an email to admin at NC Canada Immigration. And I see some similar questions. So it's not just the occupation that you work in. Yes, it plays a role in your eligibility, but it's not the only eligibility factor. So there are different things like your age, level of education, your background in general will help to determine which pathway might work better than another. Okay. And somebody's asking, what's the cost to start the process for the Alberta pilot program? So with everything that we do, regardless of the program, we generally start with a consultation. So that's usually the first step in receiving assistance with any pathway. We start with an initial consultation. That consultation, we can review your background in detail. We can determine what pathway might be the best fit. Or if you come with a specific program, like you're asking about the specific program, for example, we can review your eligibility for that program, because before we can provide you with any quote for fees, before we can say we're going to work with you, we first have to make sure that you'd be eligible for the program and that you will be able to provide the necessary documents and information that will be required for the application, right? And determine whether there might be any challenges that we might foresee, any weaknesses that we might have to address in the application. So there's a lot of free work that would need to be done before doing an application. And so that's why the first step usually in working with us is to do an initial consultation. Consultations, if you go to the link in our bio, you'll see the consultation options there, and the rates also, the corresponding rates for the different options are also there. Somebody says, I'm a media graduate. Do you think I could be eligible for one of the programs? Yes, I don't see why not. As I mentioned, there are different, there are other requirements that you'll have to meet as well, but the field that you're in doesn't exempt you. Fine. What pathway did she use? So she came under the Atlantic Immigration. And so her entire family, once she was granted permanent residency, her entire family also granted permanent residency. So she still has some family members who will be traveling to Canada to do their landing, because once the permanent residency application has been approved, you still have to travel to Canada physically to do what's called a formal landing, right? So that would be the next step for the family members, and then they too will be granted that status. Then once the status has been granted, the next thing that they'll be waiting for is to receive their permanent residency card. And that's a card that they will use to travel to Canada in the future. Looking to relocate to Regina on a work permit? Yeah, so reach out to us, send us a DM or send an email, and we see how we can assist. That one was already answered. Okay. Great. Any final thoughts, Trisha? I think we're done. And I thank you for joining us today and for spending the time to answer questions from our audience. Okay, and I think Trisha's partner wants to join us. Of course, we'll have him. We welcome him.
Great. I'll just let him take over for now.
Come on and join us, Sean, and we definitely love to chat with him. This is actually the first time I'm meeting Sean, like face to face. I've been working with them for over a year. I talk to them, we message, we talk on the phone, we email, but I don't think I've had like a face-to-face call with them, aside from like, I think we did a Zoom like earlier on. Welcome, Sean. Nice to meet you.
Nice to
In
meet you.
person, like live.
Yeah, yes.
So
Through the
for
same
you,
system.
I want to think for you. I don't think I was able to get any feedback from you, so we'll be doing it live. What has been, how has the experience been for you?
For me,
Canada.
for me, it has really been a wonderful experience. Well, it's my first time traveling, so of course that would be that would mean a lot to me. It was really good. I mean, you have a few obstacles, you have a few situations, but it was really good. I enjoyed every second of it. Keisha and I, we were on edge for most of the time because, the process, time, I mean, it's relative. The time would have maybe gone a little bit over what we would have expected, but I mean, nothing good comes overnight. So we were just on edge because we really wanted it to come through quick. And then, of course, now we are elated. Super, super. I am super happy. I mean, especially due to the fact that I'm here with her.
Awesome. And any advice for those who are listening, who might want to take the same or similar pathway as you guys? Any advice for them?
Sure. First, you have to have the mindset. You have to know what you want, and like you just said, follow your dreams, and that is very important because it can be a situation where it works if you want it to work, or if you are follow your dreams. The essential thing is to have some, because I mean we can't just live like some person. You have to have something, put something aside. You don't necessarily need a lot of money because of course you're coming to try and earn some money to take care of our family and so on. So we're not going to have that lump sum of money, and we don't need it to start. We just need to have the right mindset, the right approach, willing to take chances. What is life without taking chances? So, I mean, go for it. It's achievable, and everything is in it for the long run, for the long haul, to benefit you or the individual. It's worth it. Just need to prepare, as I said, financially. You'll need some. I mean, financial but yeah, just prepare yourself financially, mentally, physically. Like for me, the winter was one of my biggest challenges because, as I said, I've never been outside of Jamaica. This is the first for me. So I've never experienced cold in any way, shape, or form. So, and then it is adjustable. I mean, you can adjust it because there are a lot of things to do. You can do. I mean, even the house is here. All those I've been in, they're equipped for that season. So it's no big deal. It's just that I've never experienced it so I wasn't fully prepared for it. I heard you mentioned a question asked about electrician for skilled workers. Like I said, for the genes, doors opening in different ways. Getting here is the more important thing. Once you're here, and everything, I mean, fall in place. I would say that. Yes, you'll need, I don't know what they call, I don't remember the name, a license pretty much to operate as an electrician. And it's attainable, it's easy, anyone can get it. Just, as an electrician, you know, well, it's just the principle is different from Jamaica and here. So they know the coding and so on. So that is the reason why they want to ensure that you have that piece of paper to ensure that you know what you're doing. But it's, as I said, once you're here, everything falls into place.
All right, guys. So thanks so much, Sean and Trisha, for your time today, and for those who have joined us, and those who will be watching the replay. As I said, if you have questions, drop them in the comments, and then we'll try to get back to you. But send us a DM on Instagram, or send us an email, admin@nccanadaimmigration.com, and we'll be sure to get back to you. It was lovely talking to you both, and and continue to enjoy the time in Canada, and we'll definitely catch up. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know it's night for you guys.
Yeah.
But it's after 5 here for me. It's probably after 8 or 9 for you guys. 8, right? No, after 8. All right. Take care and have a good one.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.